Wright. How are you?
Pretty good, thanks. How are you?
Not too bad. I have a question for you. A lot of the budget cuts that I'm seeing and I'm looking at, they're affecting a lot of the agencies that work with people who are developmentally disabled, both physically, mentally, and emotionally. And the budget cuts are going to affect a lot of the services. So a lot of our questions are, what is going on with this, and how are we going to be able to serve these folks with the budget cuts that are coming? This doesn't seem like the Rick Scott most of us voted for.
You're talking about the Agency for Persons with Disabilities, particularly, right?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Well, that is a unique issue. Let me tell you a little bit. Do you know the background on that? Do you know?
I know some of it, but not all of it. Like I said, a lot of this just got handed to me this week to some people that work over at Horizons and a few other areas, and my email box is so full with what's going on and asking me to look into this because I have a huge following on my website.
Well, let me give you the pertinent information to this. That agency, the Agency for Persons with Disabilities, was spending 20% more than they had in their budget. They were spending an excess of $170 million in addition to what was already appropriated to them. Okay. I'm not a lawyer, so I'm not speaking as a lawyer here, but Florida law does not allow you to spend more money than you are allowed to spend in the budget. So, I mean, it's a serious mismanagement. The agency simply doesn't have the money. There's no money. They spent way too much.
Now let me ask you a question. When you said they spent over $100,000, is that per year?
No. Get this number right. They spent over $170 million.
Whoa.
In excess of their yearly budget.
In excess of the yearly budget?
Yes. This was an emergency. The governor did not have a lot of choice this year. He had to make this emergency rule to stop that.
And this was in what group? What was it? The ADA?
This is APD. It's
APD. Okay.
For persons with disabilities.
Right. All right. So now, who did the investigating and found out how this money was being spent? Did Rick Scott do that?
I don't know who did the initial investigation, but I think it was. Hold on. Let me get that straight. I'll say this. When the governor came in to office, he ordered all agencies everywhere to look at their spending, look at their regulations, and to see where they could save money, what could be cut, what regulations were unnecessary. I mean, he basically told everybody to kind of go in and give yourselves a hard look and see what you're doing, right? And so this was discovered, and after it was discovered, the governor's office appointed the chief investigator of the office. The chief, there's a title for him. I'm not sure. Hold on one second. Anyway, he appointed the chief inspector to look into this situation and find out why this was happening. And so they've published a report.
So did anybody find out where that money went?
Well, yeah, it's going to it is going to services for these people.
Okay.
It is. It's going to help people with disabilities. I'm just saying the demand far outweighs the resources.
Okay. Yeah, and it's a big demand. Trust me, it's a big demand.
And we understand that. The governor, this was a very difficult decision.
Okay.
You can quote me. This was not an easy decision.
Okay.
But it was about the only decision the governor could make. I mean, they were $170 million in excess of their budget.
$170 million in excess. Now, so all of it did go to the services. They were able to establish that.
To pay for the agency's operating costs, so services, payroll, all that stuff that's involved with funding the agency.
Do you know how much, according to, and I'm just here in Fort Walton Beach, according to Horizons of Okaloosa, APD said they were cut anywhere between 15 to 40%.
That's probably, I can't comment on that. I don't have those numbers in front of me.
Okay, yeah, I'm just going by what the numbers that they have. Now, here's the other question that complements that. Now, a lot of the people that are in these homes are going to be affected. A lot of them are going to lose, possibly, their housing. Not only that, it's going to affect the staffing as well, because we have people with serious issues as far as, being developmentally disabled. Now, understanding that, they spend over $170 million a year, showing that the cost was pretty much a cost overrun. Okay? Showing that also that money did go to the services, so it wasn't misappropriated. Is that correct?
Yeah, we are not saying anything about misappropriation. We're saying it was mismanaged.
Okay, it was mismanaged.
They should have stayed within the budget.
Okay, now, so how can that be corrected without affecting these folks? Because we're not talking about just 300 at Horizons. We're talking about thousands statewide.
You're right. Nobody's saying that people aren't going to be affected. You're right. There's going to be an effect here, and that's why it was such a tough decision for the governor to make.
Okay.
But it was something he had to do.
All right. Now,
emergency rule that he had to authorize so that services could be provided for the most vulnerable. You understand that? I mean, just speaking off, if you keep spending that much money, eventually there's no more money, and the whole agency is going to be affected, potentially, shut down.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
That's true. That's very true.
I'm just kind of giving you background, that's how things work, and you know that with any kind of budgetary thing. So that's the issue.
Now, here's the other part of the issue that I wanted to address, because I think this is pretty much symptomatic of everything that's going on, not just in this state, but across the country.
Okay.
Most recently, in February, the legislature hired, I guess, 61 or 62 maybe assistants, all ranging salaries at anywhere from $100,000 to $175,000 and over. Now, here's a question. Along with these budget cuts, why wasn't that cut?
You're talking about the salaries in the agency?
No, the salaries within the legislature of Florida. Just as an example, a lot of the senators, representatives have aides and assistants. All right, they're making salaries, and this was just reported in February, and I've been able to backtrack and verify that the state legislature of Florida hired over 60-something people as assistants, ranging from salaries between $175 an hour to $175,000 a year. That's 61 people that's been hired for the state to work in the state legislature. Why couldn't some of that money been appropriated and switched over to these agencies in need, instead of hiring people to do the job that we elected these officials to do? Not assistants. We elected officials to represent us. Why is that issue not being tackled?
Just to make sure I understand.
Mm-hmm.
Your question is, why are staffers at all levels of state government, why are employees at all levels of state government, why are there some that are making such high salaries?
Yeah.
Why can't those be pared down?
Yeah, why can't they be pared down? That would save some money. Not only that, looking at the Florida CAFR report, which is the comprehensive annual report, not just the summary, we're talking about the full report and the investment and holdings report. That money can be best used to get this state back on track.
Well, if you take a hard look, I don't know if you've gone to our website, Florida Has a Right to Know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've been there.
And you can look at the salaries. I mean, these are top. Those salaries where they're making that high dollar figure, these are top. What are we trying to say here? It's important to offer competitive salaries in order to attract and retain talented individuals. I mean, we need talented individuals to run.
Right. You need talented people. That's why we hired Rick Scott. That's why the people hired the senators, and the congressmen, because they were talented. But our tax money doesn't have to go to assistants. What I'm saying is, why couldn't some of that money be cut down to offset this budget? Because to me, that seems also like government waste itself.
Well, yeah, well, I don't know the specifics. I can't tell you exactly an answer to that. All I can say is that I know that it is important to offer competitive salaries, and we are not offering more than what, in fact, oftentimes, and as you know, in government, it's usually less than what they can get out in the private sector.
Well, I don't know. Lately, from what I've been seeing, the people that work as assistants, they're making anywhere from $100,000 to $175,000 a year.
As assistants?
Yes. As assistants.
Can you show me something?
Yeah, you got an email? Let me send you the report.
Well, I've got it online. Can you just tell me, which agency you're looking at?
Let me go back here. This is not an agency. This is the state legislature. That's why I say, give me your email. I'm going to send you...
You should call... Actually, okay, well, the executive branch obviously is different from the state legislature.
Yeah.
Have you tried calling them?
Yeah, I have. No one seems to answer that question. You know how it goes. You know how it goes. No one seems to want to answer any of these questions. You are the only one, sir, that has actually answered anything that even makes remote sense.
Well, I'm glad I could help. That's my job.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much for calling back, and you have an awesome day, okay?
All right, you too. Take care.
Bye-bye.
You got him on the ropes on that one.
Now run and tell that one.
I am.
Run and tell that one.
Okay. All right, honey.
So now what I got to do...
Did I leave my sweater in the car?